If you wake up every single day knowing you are going to work all day long, and still, at the end of the month, the bills are more than the money, this message was made for you, not to give you a formula, not to promise you that tomorrow will be different, but to tell you something that maybe no one has told you yet. The exhaustion you feel is not weakness. It is the sign of someone who never gave up, and God sees that. Today I want to tell you the story of a man named Robert, a man who worked for years with everything he had, and reached a point where the effort and the results simply never added up. They never did. Robert was 38 years old when he realized he was trapped in a cycle he did not even know how he had entered. He woke up at 5 in the morning, he got home at 8 at night, he ate, he slept, he repeated. He had worked at a logistics company for 11 years. It was not a job he loved, but it was what he had. And he did it with seriousness, with dedication, with the kind of commitment that most people reserve only for the things they actually chose. The problem was not lack of effort. The problem was that the effort never led anywhere. The paycheck covered the rent. It covered the food. It covered the basics. But something always came up. The car broke down. A child got sick. The electric bill came in wrong. And the month that seemed under control fell apart again. Robert would sit in the kitchen after everyone was asleep, staring at the bills spread across the table, running and rerunning the numbers with a pen that had already run out of ink. Not because he expected to find a different answer, but because staying there, doing that, was the only way he knew how to try. I did not know what else to do, he said. So I kept trying what was not working. Maybe you know that feeling. The feeling of repeating the same motion not because you believe in it, but because stopping feels even more frightening. What Robert did not see during that time was that he had built a very specific relationship with work. For him, working was the only legitimate way to solve a problem. If something was wrong, the answer was to work more. If the money was not coming in, the answer was to work more. If the month closed in the red, the answer was to work more. And that logic was consuming something in him that money could not replace. It was consuming his peace. It was consuming his presence. It was consuming his ability to see beyond the urgency of the month. There was a verse that Robert's mother used to read when he was a child. He had not thought of it for years, but one night, for no clear reason, it came back to him with a strange clarity. Better is a little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble with it. Robert sat with that phrase for a long time. Not because it solved the problem of the bills, but because it named something he had not been able to name on his own. The trouble. That was what was inside his house. It was not just a lack of money, it was the constant trouble of a life built entirely around fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of not being able to handle it. Fear of one day waking up and realizing that a lifetime of effort was still not enough. And it was in that moment that Robert did something he had never done before. He did not look for a second job. He did not make a new spreadsheet. He did not call a friend for advice. He stopped. And he prayed, not a beautiful prayer, not a Sunday prayer, a kitchen prayer, in the middle of the night with the bills still on the table. God, I do not know what else to do. I have tried everything I know. I have worked as hard as I can. If there is a path I am not seeing, show me. Because the way things are right now, I cannot keep going. Nothing happened that night. No voice, no sign, no immediate answer. But Robert slept. And for the first time in months, he truly slept. In the months that followed, something began to move in a way Robert had not planned. A coworker, almost by accident, mentioned an opportunity that was looking for someone with exactly Robert's background. It was not a dream job, but it paid 30% more. And it was 10 minutes closer to home. Robert hesitated. Changing after 11 years was frightening. The familiar, even when it hurts, has a strange kind of safety to it. But he went, and he was hired in the first conversation. It was not a cinematic miracle. It was not an overnight transformation. It was a door that opened after he stopped pushing against the wall. 2 years later, Robert still works hard. The bills still exist. Life still has difficult months. But he told me something I have never forgotten. I do not think God was ignoring me during those years. I think I was so busy running that I could not hear the direction. When I stopped, he spoke. Not loudly, quietly, but I heard. Maybe you are exactly where Robert was, working all day long, coming home with nothing left, looking at the numbers and feeling that something is fundamentally wrong. The problem may not be the amount of effort, it may be the direction. And sometimes, to find the right direction, you have to be still long enough to listen. God did not promise it would be easy. but he promised he would not be absent. And maybe the question worth asking today is not, how do I make the bills work? But instead, God, where are you guiding me? Because when the direction changes, the results eventually change too. If something inside you recognized this story today, write in the comments. I trust that God is preparing my path, not because everything is already resolved, but because you choose to believe that it will be. Thank you for being here. Until the next message.